At 3 a.m., our deep space array heard a whisper. Not static, but something calling. The pattern wasn't random. It counted in primes like a mind, testing whether we were truly listening to it. The coordinates pointed to a blank patch of sky. No stars yet, the silence felt crowded. Watching us closely, we launched a probe into the dark. Its cameras saw nothing, until the darkness looked back and blinked once. Stars began blinking in sequence, a cosmic Morse code written across light years, spelling a warning we couldn't read yet. A nebula folded into the shape of an eye, not shining, but staring straight through us. Crossing that, I bent as if the universe adjusted itself to watch the probe. Beyond the veil was a planet made of black glass. A perfect mirror floating where nothing should be. On its surface, the reflection was wrong. Constellations no human chart had ever named. Arranged like a warning. A fracture opened like a doorway in the mirror, and cold light spilled out, silent and deliberate. Inside was a corridor built from silence endless, polished and far too intentional to be natural. Obsidian monoliths rotated to the same count, as if the hallway itself was keeping time. Then we heard sound where sound can't exist. Not through air, but through light itself. The whisper became shapes, almost language, assembling with the patience of something ancient and sure. A window opened onto a black hole, not destroying light, but organizing it like a display. Around it spun rings like shelves of light, each orbit stacked with secrets we weren't meant to catalog. Each ring held a different universe miniature, vivid and impossibly stable. As if stored for replay, one shelf showed Earth ancient beyond history. Oceans raging under newborn skies that no human ever witnessed. Another shelf showed Earth far ahead. Cities glowing like circuitry, as if the planet learned to speak in light. Then the counting changed, faster, tighter. A countdown without numbers. Pressuring the corridor to respond, space began to feel unlocked. Like a sealed door, finally admitting it had a keyhole. We found a city inside a comet. Architecture glowing beneath ice. Sheltered from every sun. No inhabitants, no movement. Only light, as if the place existed to be remembered. Not lived in. A single road of ice led to a hanging mirror. A monument that reflected more than light. The probe's reflection didn't match its shape. Like the mirror remembered a different version of it. A beam scanned the probe slow, intimate as if reading its memories line by line. The download arrived as a hand made of stars, precise, deliberate, and unmistakably directed. It didn't point at the probe. It pointed at us, the observers, as if we were the target. The countdown softened into a heartbeat, steady. Patient like something alive was waiting nearby. A second door opened into frozen sky. Nebulae crystallized galaxies suspended, as if time itself was trapped. Galaxies stood perfectly still, pinned like specimens, and the probe moved through them without leaving a wake. The probe moved, but its shadow stayed behind, refusing to follow like time had lost interest. Then the shadow gained weight and detail, until it became another probe, identical down to every bolt. They hovered face to face, like a machine meeting its future self in a room made of stopped seconds. One probe transmitted the original whisper perfectly, as if we'd been listening to ourselves all along. We weren't chasing the signal. We were creating it. Trapped in a loop that started before we began. Space folded like paper crisp edges in the void. And the corridor rearranged itself with quiet confidence. A thin thread of light stitched the stars together. turning the sky into a seam someone could pull. The thread closed into a circle with no beginning. A symbol that felt less like art and more like law. The mirror pulled the probe back. Not with force, but with certainty. Like gravity making a decision. On the glass, a human handprint appeared. Fresh and fogged, as if someone had just touched it. But the pressure came from inside. Like the mirror held a room behind it. And something leaned close. A mirror shattered into 1,000 skies. Each fragment reflecting a different universe. Each one calmly aware. One shard showed the exact moment we first listened. As if the fracture was replaying our beginning. Another shard showed the observer a shadow where we should not exist. Standing inside the corridor itself, it finally spoke. Clearly, don't look back. And somehow the warning felt addressed to me. We turned anyway, and found a third door waiting behind us, as if it had always been there. Beyond it lay a sea of darkness, dotted with watching lights that felt less like stars and more like eyes. As we approached, they shut one after another, until the darkness became private and we were no longer welcome. Only one light remained. Steady and patient, like a guide that never needed our permission to lead. The beacon became a staircase of stardust, steps suspended in nothing, inviting ascent without explanation. At the top was an empty room with one chair, a stage set for an audience of one. The chair turned to face us, not like furniture moving, but like a decision being made. Up close, it wasn't a chair at all. It was an antenna shaped to receive what we couldn't. The heartbeat whisper came from here, broadcasting softly, as if the room itself had lungs. And then it clicked. The source wasn't the antenna. The source was the observer standing exactly here. Reality rewound, clean and effortless, returning us to the first moment. We listened as if nothing happened. The whisper returned exactly the same. Same rhythm, same tone. Like the universe insisting we repeat the mistake. But this time, a small light moved nearby. Not part of the station, like something else was listening back. One blink and the universe went quiet.